would he think? What would he say? Would he be happy and grateful? Would he be saddened? Would he be grieved? Would he still be doing the fight and still standing up for justice? I believe he'd be all three. I believe he'd be happy because he sees that his legacy still lives on inside of us as we celebrate him, as we move, and different communities and different groups are still trying to push through that injustice. So there is still out there, and most of the youth are coming together in all different races and trying to say, look, this is enough. What can we do here? Then I believe I said the second thing, he'd be probably a little grieved because there've been some things that he fought for, went to jail 30 times, got beaten, was out there in the front, boycotted, walked the walks that he had to do with his basically other people that was holding him up, with his children, with his wife, with his family, with his friends, with the community, everything. And in some cases, we took 2 steps back because certain laws has been changed around. Our voices are not being heard as they should be. People are not being more aware of their surroundings. And I'm going to talk about a little bit of that in a minute, because I have 3 main topics I want to bring out when it comes to MLK, Dr. Martin Luther King. So I feel like he'd be a little, grieved with that. And the third thing I said, do you think he would still be fighting the fight? Would still be coming against and really hustling to drive out that injustice that still is there? Because it didn't go away. It's just in a different type of form, but it's still there. Still there. And I say different type of form because we're talking about 1968 to 2028. Well, we got technology, we got a lot of things going on. We all, there's been an uplift in the world, but there's still, even through every new thing, all these nuances and everything that we have, all this, the technology is out there, more awareness. We can grab a hold of education. We can go get education online. You can teach, you can be in companies, you can have your own business stuff. And there's still that injustice that's out there, especially for the Black and browns. And also, I'm just not counting. There's more. There's the mental health. People still fighting against that. Mental health is real, people. I keep telling people that, but some people still don't take it seriously. You have people handicapped. That's, another injustice. So it goes, there's the whole levels of that. So I think he would still be fighting the fight, even at 95 years old. I believe Dr. Martin Luther King would do. But yeah, I feel like he'd be happy in some cases, grieved, and still saying, I'm still standing up at 95, even if he was in a wheelchair. I think he'll still be somewhere on the internet or doing TikTok or doing his own podcast and still trying to get people together to say, we need to come together and respect each other. So with that, I thought about 3 main things I wanted to bring out today for us to remind ourselves of what this man wanted to accomplish and still to this day wants to continue to accomplish. He's still around. I want to tell people he's still here, and he's embodied in all of us that wants to see and make a change in life, and is upset if it's going a different direction, and if it's discrediting people or downing people or not letting people have the same equal rights as another person. That's his legacy. That's what that was in his blood. He was standing up for that. So the 3 things I want to bring out, one thing about Dr. Martin Luther King is, one, as I kind of said a little bit, is civil rights advocate. He was an advocate till the day that he died. He was a key figure in the American civil rights. And, you know, he advocated the equal rights for African Americans. That was his main goal. And his famous, as everybody knows, if, like I said, head in the sand, if you don't, I have a dream speech that emphasized the need for radical equality. He had a dream. What is your dream? Are you willing to stand and fight for it and work towards it and push through and believe in it and trust in it? What is your dream about? What do you want to leave? What are you advocating today? Like I tell people, it could be, you know, the movement, civil rights movement is still there. Like I said, it hasn't gone away. Or you might be fighting for, you know, people that can't hear, that's not a hearing impediment. They can't hear or they can't speak. You might be fighting for the youth and, you know, making sure they have a better education. There's universities and colleges closing down because a lot of people say either I get online or heck, I don't even need college no more. I just need to just do something certified or get my own business or whatever and call it a day. So I'm just saying there's a whole bunch of areas where you can say, I have a dream and what you have a dream in. But the overall thing is, like I said, lessons learned from Dr. Martin Luther King, give you a tip to continue this, is engage yourself, maybe in the civil rights advocate by supporting organizations that work towards equality, participating in peaceful, we'll talk about that in the second tip option I have, peaceful protest. And using your voice to speak out against discrimination or what you believe in, to speak out against it, your voice. And you don't have to be in a big, arena to do it. You could be right there working on a project with 2 or 3 people, and you might see something that's not right, maybe discriminated against somebody, or is not something's not equal. Use your voice. You might be at work and you're working with your team and you see something. Maybe you need to speak out. You might be with family members, friends, and then you see something. Your voice. You can speak out. You know why? Going back to Dr. Martin Luther King, he paved the way. Remember, we're on his shoulders and on other people that was with him. Think about it. A long time ago, some things didn't go the way it did back in the day with him. I wouldn't be able to work at an insurance company for over 25 years because they probably wouldn't have hired me because I was Black African-American woman. I probably wouldn't have been able to get into the colleges that I went to get my degree because it's Black African-American woman. I probably wouldn't have been able to understand about the computers. I wouldn't probably even, the only jobs I probably would have had is cleaning up, maid, maybe picking up some deliveries, what have you. Certain things that only they just gave Black and brown people. But he paved the way. So we had the opportunity to what? Use our voice. So we don't want to take that for granted. And I feel like nowadays, a lot of people are taking it for granted because people have this going on. And what I mean with this snapping like this is short attention span. People have a short attention span right now. All ages. I can't even sit there and say, well, the youth, they got a short attention span. I see my age group have it. I see people older than me have it. We all are in it. We can't even look at a video for a good 5-10 minutes without 30 seconds into it. And I have to even say less than 30 seconds because they said the average person will look at a video. If you don't get them at the beginning of the video, they're going after 5 seconds. Didn't even give it a chance. And then they blame it on the person, the content creator, saying, well, they didn't catch my attention, so it's not my fault. I didn't listen to it. And you could have been missing something. They could have been saying in the midst of the first 10 seconds or 30 seconds that you won $10,000. But you'll never get to that because we got this attention span. And we need to step back and start doing this. You see, I'm not going that slow with it, but I'm not going that fast with it. We need to listen more so we know where to use our voice and not so much of just jumping on stuff. And then you don't know, you jump into something, you be like, well, I thought this. Well, no, because you didn't listen. You didn't take the time to find out. So now your voice has been put somewhere where now it was totally confused because you didn't listen. Didn't listen. It's one thing to use your voice, it's another thing to listen. Listening is even better than the voice at the time. So you can understand the whole picture. Whole picture. So that's one thing our wonderful civil rights lighthouse of the world did, is he was a civil rights advocate. So powerful. Second thing I want to say is he believed in nonviolence resistance. Nonviolence. Whew. I think he would be very, 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 very grieved right now if he was here in physical, seeing everything that's going on with the wars and the gangs and the riots. And whew, I mean, he'd been through some riots. He went to jail 30 times fighting and believing in him. Didn't fight like this. He fought like this. And he fought like this. Yes. He fought with the education that he received and that he knew he had to gain. See, he knew his I Have a Dream speech just didn't show up 3 days before he went out there to Washington and spoke it. That I Have a Dream speech was embedded in him when he was a little boy. And see, one thing you have to do is you have to go through the process. He went through the process to get to that nonviolence resistance. And how he had to go through the process of that is he had to understand that I'm not going to fight with this. I'm not going to fight with this. I need to fight with this because this is going to get you everywhere. That knowledge, that wisdom that you gain gets you everywhere. I'm going to put a shout out to Mrs. LaWanna Bradford because me and her, when we talk, she showed me something. She told me something and it was so powerful and it sticks with me all the time. She said, Barbara, don't pray for money. And I was like, why not? I said, it's kind of nice. I kind of, you need it for certain things, right? She said, no, pray for knowledge and pray for wisdom. Because you could always find a way to make money, but if you don't have the knowledge and wisdom to know how to do it, then yeah, you are going to be out there not knowing and broke or whatever, because you need to pray for the knowledge and the wisdom. See, Martin Luther King got that. See, he understood. He understood that. And that's powerful. And look what happened by him making sure that he understood, he stayed in his studies, he went to school, he went to college, he got his degrees, he listened, he sat among other experts and geniuses around him and mentors, and coaches, and he learned the craft. And then he's seen what he needed to do. He knew his calling, he knew his purpose, he knew his passion. As I say, the PPD that I always put out there, I know you don't hear it that much, but I put it out. I've been putting it out there for a while. He knew his PPD. He knew his purpose, passion, and drive. And he went for it 150,000%. And he said through that, he's going to make sure he doesn't want violence with this. He said, I don't want it to take it by that type of force. I want to take it by the force of the knowledge I know to get through the people's minds. So the example of Dr. Martin Luther King emphasized the power of non-violence resistance as a means to bring about social change. One example, the Montgomery bus boycott. is a noble example of that, a success of nonviolent protesting. They basically boycotted. They didn't get on the buses. They did their walking. People was probably throwing stuff at them, stones, yelling at them, calling them all types of names, the N-word, everything. And they kept it going. They walked to their jobs, or they stayed home, or they all got together. See, this is when the community came to play. And I'm about to get into that in a minute. It's a third topic. The community started building, because they all started saying, okay, I have a car, I have a wagon, I got whatever, right? Let's all get in together here. Let's get in here together. And I'm going to take you, because we have to stand on our truth. We need to take a stand here. People need to understand what the heck is going on. And he took a stand and didn't get violent with it, and told everybody else. So we're talking about leaders. He led all those individuals, families and friends and people that probably hardly been known him, but they heard what he was trying to do. And he told them, this is what we have to do to show up, that they know that we mean business, not by fighting, but by using this and hitting it where it hurts. He knew if that boycott, people down on the bus, drivers not getting paid, the bus company's not getting paid, and the list goes on. See, he knew where to hit people, and not by this, not by that. So a tip for that when it comes to nonviolence resistance, when you're thinking about it, when you fight for something, when you're standing for something, it might not be, civil rights or discrimination. It might, like I said, there's different ways that, what's your jam? What is your jam, I say, right? Choose nonviolence methods when advocating for justice. This can include peaceful protesting, as I said, civil disobedience, okay, and education to foster understanding and empathy. So one thing that they can get us on all the time, and I always tell people, and I know people get mad at me about this, so I'm putting a disclaimer here. I said, I got to dig deep right now while I'm telling you. Peaceful protesting. Peaceful protesting means basically nonviolence. You're protesting, you're standing your ground. You might be out there with a picket sign, or you might be, everybody's together with their hands, on the floor or outside or whatever, and you're peacefully doing it. So there's really no reason that too many people should be touching you too much. Now, if it's the law that you should be sitting on the floor, eventually be ready for them to take you. I'm just putting it out there, because if it's the law is there. But if you're peaceful with it, they can't do too much to you, because when you hit, they're going to hit back. When you throw something, they're going to throw back. If you pull out something, they're going to pull out something. So that's how that works. So that's why peaceful protesting will work in your favor. The law of the land. Yes, sometimes the law of the land is wonderful. And sometimes the law of the land is not wonderful, especially when it comes to Black and brown individuals sometimes. And I'm going to say it. I'm going to put it right out there. I know it sucks sometimes. It really does. But in order to get the right individuals in the office and to look at the law so it can get closer and closer, hopefully, to some kind of justice that Martin Luther King was fighting for, and we're still fighting for it. Don't forget that. It hasn't ended. I hope people don't think, okay, after Martin Luther King passed away, everything is goody gumdrops. No, it's not. In some cases, it's getting worse. Just being real here. One thing about it, I'm going to be totally open when I'm talking about certain subjects, because we need to know. We need to understand all sides of it. Can't just be one side. You got to know all sides. So we need to make sure that we educate ourselves and foster our understanding and empathy. We have to show empathy. And I'm going to throw love right there. Love and empathy is so important right now in the world. I always ask myself, when I see people get hurt or, get in fights or gang fights or the wars and stuff like that. And then people just killing people just to be killing somebody. In my mind, I'm like, where is the empathy? Where is the love? This is a human being. This is a human being. And who gave you the right to tell yourself, I can beat on this person, I can talk about it any way I want to, and guess what? If they just show up on me a little bit, I'm going to do away. They're gone from this life. What happened to the love? What happened to empathy? Dr. Martin Luther King showed that over and over again to people. Even the people that was his enemies, he's with him. He still made sure that he was there for them. He still made sure, even the people that he knew was against him, pray for him, he said. Pray for him. Now, now, if somebody does something, just steps on your toe, a person could just step on your toe and you like, forget them. I'm gonna go cuss them out, whatever you're gonna do it, and that's it. That's it. And they just stepped on your toe, or they said something, something, maybe the tone of their voice sounded a little bit bad. Boom, you're ready just to explode on them. We're just ready to explode on them. But Dr. Martin Luther King was like, let's pray for them. Let's pray for them. So we have to continue. And this is what Martin Luther King wanted us to learn, is even the people that was against you, that talked about you, even maybe hit you or what have you, he wanted you to stay strong, stand your ground. Don't be, he didn't want you just to be like, okay, well, they're just gonna let them be a whipping board on me. But he wanted to show that their ignorance is so ignorant that love and empathy and everything will overturn that. And that's what we need to think about right now. Love and empathy, understanding the other person's point of view. And that's what we all have to learn. And that's what he was striving for. Like, I go back to the education and understanding. It brings me to, I don't know why this particular show is popping up in my head right now, but I'm going to try to make it as easy, quick peasy here to make my point on a different note. I don't know if a lot of people, and I'm probably telling my age right now, some older shows, and I'm saying this show was back in 1993. I'm like, wow. I used to say, oh, back in 1960 something, that was old to me. Now 1993 is old. So anyway, it's a show. I don't know if a lot of people might know it. Look on, you can look in Prime Video or Prime Amazon or whatever if you watch, because they have all the old shows there too sometimes. And it was called Dr. Quinn, of the medicine woman. And I think Jane, I forgot her last name, but her name is Jane. So I hate that I can't forget the name. It's going to pop a little later. But this lady, it was a show basically. And basically it was written for like the 1800s. Back then, we're talking about discrimination. That's a whole nother world. You're talking about 1800s. But what I loved about the show was that it was based in, like a frontier type of land. She lived in Boston, where it was like she was in a family that had money, had like many sisters, and her father was a doctor. Her mother was basically taking care of her daughters, and she was one. And I think she was the oldest, and she decided not to do I want to get married and have children like they all was supposed to be doing back in the day. They were supposed to begin education. They ain't supposed to do nothing like that. All they're supposed to do is getting married, taking care of the husband, taking care of the kids, taking care of the house. That's it, right? Well, she wanted to be a doctor like her dad, and she followed in his footsteps. Now, back in the day, I'm talking about education, right? Fostering understanding and empathy. Well, She didn't supposed to be going to school. And they really didn't have most of schools and colleges and stuff back in the day was mostly for men. And then on top of that, there was no lady doctors, and she wanted to be. Now there was midwives, there was nurses here and there, but there was really no doctors, no MDs for women. But she wanted to be that. Her father totally agreed to it. And she went on and she did find a school. There was a school that she was able to go to get her degree. And she basically got a degree. Dad passed away, unfortunately. Mother was total opposite of her dad. She was like, you need to go forget that degree, stay at home, do this, find a husband, all this kind of stuff. Well, she wasn't going for it. Now, this is what I love about this. This is where it comes to, looking at standing on your truth, standing on what you believe in. She believed in herself back then with everything against her as a woman, being a doctor in the 1800s and saying to herself, I'm still going to do it. I got my degree. My dad believed in me. He's not here, but I hear his voice in my head. And she went for it. She stood on what she believed in. And she moved forward in that. Well, she wound up sending out a letter out there in different other maybe towns or states that might needed a doctor, because she knew she couldn't do it in Boston because no one wasn't hearing about no woman being no doctor. They was totally against it. Well, one little small town, little town like that, basically there probably was maybe like all together, the post office and the police and the sheriff is all in one storefront or what have you. Total opposite of how she lived. Well, they came back and told her that they hired her as a doctor. Now, mind you, the funny part when she got there, and they seen that she was a woman, they're like, okay, was this a joke? Did they play a joke on us? You shouldn't be here. You're a woman and you're claiming you're a doctor. And she's like, well, I am. But then when they sent the letter, see, her name was Micah Quinn. Well, I think they left off the A and it said Michael. So they thought she was a guy. Sometimes things go certain ways for certain reasons, right? But boy, did she have to go through some things there. First of all, she had to go through the whole change of life from having servants, having maids, having carriages to take her places to now she's had to find a horse. She's everything where she was walking basically was mud because she's in this little community. She had to find somewhere to stay, which people always said there's always angels sent to you. And an angel was sent to her. To me, was a lady that was there that had a rooming board, 3 children. And she basically took her in and told her, you can stay here. So there again, and this is going to go to the third point that I want to bring out about Dr. Martin Luther King. When you have 2 or 3 people, sometimes just one. And I know with Martin Luther King, he was probably saying, the only person that's believing me right now, and you always have to have that anchor. Everybody has an anchor in their life. My anchor is God, Jesus. I know his anchor was God, Jesus. So I know that was the first thing in his mind. Second, after he met his beautiful wife, Coretta, that was his other person that was believing in him. Going back to Dr. Quinn in the show, she had a wonderful lady that believed in her. And said, you know what? And she told her the laws of the land, layers of the land where she was. She said, okay, you can't dress like you just coming out of the celebrity booth from where she came from, Boston. People are not going to heed to that. They're not going to understand that there's going to be a block there. Second of all, you need to learn how to get around in these parts. As she said, people are farmers. There's saloons, there's stuff like that. She had to understand her surroundings. She had to understand her. So that's educating again, getting educated. She had the book sense. She got a degree. She was a woman, MD, but she had to learn the other side of the fence now that she's in a whole different town, a smaller town. where she wasn't getting catered to. She had to cater to people. She had to get people to trust her and understand and give her a chance to be a doctor. And that took some months, some years for her to get to that point. So she had to understand and educate herself. She had to understand, have some empathy for them and understand where they were coming from on their end, even though they were saying things about her and talking about she need to get a husband. Why is she here? She's a woman. She's not no doctor. I mean, they even had a man, quote unquote, supposed to be Dr. Barber, and he didn't know what from what when it came to. But they would call him because they didn't want what? They didn't want to talk to her because she was a woman. See, discrimination in all areas, but she stood her ground. And people finally had a chance. She started, certain people got so sick in certain areas that there was no one there. It was like, okay, we only have her. So now we got to go to her. But they sneaked around to go to her. And she took care of them. And people started hearing, getting word of it, getting whiff of it, and started really trusting her more and more and more. But if she just went in there like a flood and said, I'm a doctor, I'm a woman, I don't care what you say, da 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 da. And she tried to do that at the beginning. She seen that didn't work. They really showed her the way. Like, no. But I'm using this example. And this is not getting away from the wonderful Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. But it's another side when I'm talking about continuing on in the nonviolent resistance in this case. And understanding the methods of justice, that you don't have to always do this. Dr. Quinn didn't do this. She did this and she did this. Dr. Martin Luther King didn't do this. He did this and did this. What are you doing in the area of being an advocate? Whatever advocate you are, we got to use these senses. We got to use this. Third topic. For Dr. Martin Luther King, I got to get, I'm sitting a little bit. I got to move around. You're supposed to move around, right? Third thing, community building and empowerment. Huge for Dr. Martin Luther King believed in building strong communities and empowering individuals. Prime example, the Southern Christian Leadership. SCLC. You can look it up. Founded by King, he founded it. Work towards communities development and empowerment. We have to work together. It's really a must. Everybody wants to be on their own land. And sometimes you're on your own land, you still understand the whole picture because you can ask questions, but you want to ask questions sometimes. And then you go to that, what I said earlier, that quick, I heard for you for 10 seconds. It's not, it's not nothing I want to hear. So, oh well. No. We have to come together. And he built the Southern Christian Leadership Conference to work for communities to develop. He had to create little Dr. Martin Luther Kings. Not they wanted to be, well, like I said, they seen the characteristics. They seen what he was doing. They seen that he was nonviolent. They seen that his heart was in it. They see that he had to do this, not just because it was good, but he knew it was part of his life that he had to fight injustice. People seen that. People see, they trusted him. And he was building relationship. He was building communities. He was building other people, empowering them to go out and do what he was doing. How are you building in communities? How are you getting empowered? Where are you getting empowered at? Empowered to do? That's something that's so important. Give you a tip on that. I have my tips. Actively engage in community building efforts. Support local initiatives. Mentor individuals. I want to stop there for a minute. And sometimes you don't have to be in a big group to say, okay, I'm in a community. Sometimes a community can be you and another person at the beginning. Just mentoring that person. Just giving them some awareness. Just being in their world. Just showing them a new light on things. Just getting to understand what is really going on and what's needed, and giving them a chance to get the empathy and the education so they can understand and say, okay, you know what? I believe in this. I want to stand the ground. We need help right now. The injustice has not stopped. It's still here. And in other areas, it's higher than it was. So in some cases, we went 10 steps back. And I think about Martin Luther King now. If he was alive in 95 today, that's the grieving part that I see that he would be grieved in. And we have to stand, we have to help each other out as a community. We have to help each other out as, as individuals together. Have the love, have the capacity, have the empathy, have the knowledge, have the wisdom. If you don't know, ask. That's what we need to ask, those questions, and see what needs to be built up. So mentor individual. I love mentoring people. Sometimes me mentoring a person is just checking on them and saying, hey, you are amazing. You're wonderful. You're a queen, as I call the ladies. You're a queen. Put that crown on. Let's put that up there. It's falling to the side. Okay, we're gonna knock it back up there. And I'm not gonna beat you up because your crown is tilted. I'm gonna help you and rise it up and put it on there and make sure it's straight, because you have a gift. And you need to go in your purpose and your passion and your drive in life. And I'm here to build you up. Right there is a small community of its own. So mentoring individuals, don't look at it as so small, because that's huge. You're planting seeds and you're helping to empower them to do what they want to do, where they want to go. Excuse me. And then work towards creating exclusive and supportive communities that fight against injustice. Now I'm using injustice because I'm talking about Martin Luther King and what he was fighting for. If that's, you could put injustice in place mental health. You can take out injustice and place handicap. That's all injustice. You can place there and put people with no hearing. You can place there and put, the dolphins, people killing dolphins. You can put in there and say, you know what, the elephants, animal. Anything that's fighting against something that's not having a person be respected and getting equal opportunity, that's an injustice. And there's a need, and there's need support of a community for that. That's what Martin Luther King, he knew that. He knew, I believe in my heart right now, I have to say it, according to Barbara J. Beckley, he knew when he was so much of age what he had to do. And he stood on it all the way until his last breath. He knew the job that he had to do. He believed in making sure that everybody needed to be treated equal. And he also knew, which it said, going back, I Have a Dream speech, he knew that his time was coming up. He told us. Some people say he did. He didn't say nowhere. He said, I'm about to die. He told us, and I Had a Dream speech. Now, I might not say it verbatim, but he first he said he's been to the mountaintop. So his dream was alive. God showed him what it was, that he's seen the children of all the different races. He'd been to that mountaintop and seen it. But he said, you know what? I might not get there with you, but I see the dream that it was put in me. And he wanted us to carry it on. He wanted us, that great word that we use a lot, legacy. He wanted us to carry that on. What legacy are you carrying on right now? What are you doing in your world to create that legacy? And I just want to just talk about, empowerment and just being engaged, fighting against any kind of injustice that you see. Opening that mouth, like I said earlier, using your voice, understanding, getting educated, being aware, not using the violence, but be nonviolence, but get violent in your education. Get violent in learning and growing and being aware of things. That's where we should get violent in continuing. So to continue in Martin Luther King's, let's say, legacy, as we want to put it, they put it, is essential to educate oneself and others about the ongoing struggles of justice. Yes, it's a struggle. You know, I've been back and forth in my mind. I've been closing my eyes in my mind. I'm like, you know, I said other about the ongoing struggles of justice. And you know what? Something told me about that. And I'm going to put a disclaimer here because some people might not agree with this. And I get it. We are not going to be. Sometimes we agree to disagree. And I get that. I have no problem with that. But I'm going to save my voice. Say it. I don't like the word struggle. And the reason why I'm saying that, because I feel like when people hear the word struggle, and when you put that out there, like when you're voicing your opinion or you're in a community, you're saying, hey, you know, there's a struggle out. Here's an ongoing struggle. And we need to, you know, jump on this. And we need to help. We need to do the legacy. I feel like people hear struggle and they're like, struggle. Do you know how much struggle I have in my own household? You know the struggle I had with my parents. You know the struggle I have with my husband or wife. The struggle I have at my work. The struggle I had with projects I'm on. The struggle I had in my business. You think I want to take another struggle on? Yeah, that's okay. That's on you. You do you, boo. That's when I feel some people hear that struggle. They use an excuse to not want to help or be aware or do the little steps, as I said, because they hear struggle. So I want to say, you know, it educates oneself and others about the ongoing movement to help and get the injustice, whatever that injustice you're working on, out. Get it out. It needs to go. Just move forth. We need to move forth. Because I don't want to have no word to make an excuse for people to not move forward in what they probably in the back of their minds, they probably want to do, but they have all this other stuff in their head or other things going on. See, you know, the word busy is the word of the century. I'm so busy. I was catching myself saying it. I'm busy. I'm busy. I said, woo, I don't even like hearing that word. Don't even say that. Well, but I'm so busy. I'm busy. I can't do. You're so busy. Busy that you get so busy. I was saying to myself, now I'm talking to me now. I was so busy, I'm not getting nothing done because I'm so busy. Time to prioritize. It's time to really look at what you're busy doing. Are you doing busy work just to say you're busy? Because some people some people just do stuff to say busy because they want to tell somebody, yeah, they're busy. Let's keep it real. Did I hit somebody? Ooh. Keep it real. We got to be real with this, right? Stay informed about current social issues, participate in open dialogue, foster understanding across diversity communities, understand the different communities that we're about. We're all, I used to always hear this a long time when I was younger, we're all a melting pot. Everybody's in a melting pot. And I'm like, okay, we're in a melting pot. I got older. I said, we're in a melting pot. Then what? What are we doing about it? Are we respecting each other's different ways of what communities, different backgrounds, not just race, but some people, we go to the religious part. There's division in that too, and that's a whole nother talk. But what are we doing after that? It's one thing to say it, but what action are we putting after that? Oh, we're all a melting pot. Okay, then what? Well, that melting pot, some of us are not respecting each other. Some people even know who we are, what we do, or why we're in the predicament we in, or why we feel the way we do, or why we're in certain communities, why we have our voice out there. Okay. Encourage empathy. So important. Empathy. I'm throwing love there. Love is so much needed. Equality and justice in your personal and professional area of life. Remember that a small action can collectively contribute to a more just and equal world. Just a tad, just a small action. Getting that mentee, doing some check-ins with people, understanding what's going on, and not just saying after 5 seconds, I'm out. I'm out. It didn't pull me. What's in it for me? There was, where's the Y factor? We're intelligent beings. We really are. Even though somebody told you you're not, you're intelligent. Let's act like it and move forward in that and stop using these small little things to make excuses for us. And I'm talking to me. I know you're saying, Dad, Barbara, you're just I'm talking to me. Let's put it on me right now. Because if your feelings are getting hurt, then, I don't want to do that. But I'm putting it out there. I'm putting I put all the good stuff, but I got to put some of the stuff that's that you don't want to touch. So with that said, happy Dr. Martin Luther King's Day, MLK, birthday, lighthouse to the world, an amazing, amazing man that paved the way for us. So remember, when you can walk into a door and you don't see a sign up there saying only a certain individual can come in this door, and it might not be it might not be you. You are standing on the shoulders of Martin Luther King and his community and how he empowered people to get us to this point. The thing is that I want to ask each and every individual out there now is, what are we going to do about it now moving forward? Because there's still a movement to move forward in. Didn't want to put struggle there. Don't want excuses. So with that said, this was a Coach's Lounge special edition with myself, Barbara J. Beckley. Hopefully you got some things out of it. I know I did, because when I'm throwing some gold nuggets, I learn. It comes back to me. It reminds me of things. And I just want you to know that whatever you're going to be advocate in, believe in you, even if it's just you and one other person. And if it's not just you, believe in what you believe. Stand your ground and forecast. That's another thing. Forecast that this is going to be a journey for you. But also know that you don't have to do it by yourself. As I said earlier, there's communities that you can build. There's communities that are already out there. And like I said, a community can just be you and one other person right now. So start small, planting those seeds. Again, I will see you next Monday on the Coach's Lounge. If you are interested in being a guest on the show, please, 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 please come and just reach out to me and we will get you on the schedule. I'm booked a little bit in advance, but we can always fit you in. I want to get you on the schedule, get you on the show, because again, I love to spotlight the coaches, to spotlight experts' advice for life and in business. And always remember that you have a gift in you. You have something that's on this earth that people need. First, you need to understand that and love you. Get that in you, that purpose, get that gift that you have in you, and then let it out so people can shine. You can shine. People will see you shining, and then they'll get